with Max Traylor, and Max Traylor is the author of Agency Survival Guide. And so, what we're going to talk about today is how to raise your prices and simplify your business at the same time. And a lot of reasons why people can't raise their prices is their business is too complex. And a lot of reasons people don't simplify is because they think they need a complex business to raise their prices to make more money, which is absolutely not true. And so I'm glad to have Max here and talking about that. By the way, welcome, Max. Great to have you here.
Great to be here.
Awesome. What would you say is the biggest and I mentioned one of them, the biggest limitation people have when it is to simplify? What is the reason people struggle to simplify? And I love your thoughts, but I think lacking simplification is the reason why people can't raise the prices, because they're doing too much, you got too much going on, and they can't just laser what they do.
Yeah, well, the simple answer is fear and hunger. If you look at somebody's website, if they have a menu of services, they have a menu of services because that's what their clients are asking for. They haven't taken control of their business. They haven't identified the thing that is most valuable to their customers. There is an answer to the thing that you are best at that is most valuable to your customers. That is what you should simplify around. But the reason people maintain their services menu is because they rely on referrals and customers coming to them saying, hey, I am in the buying process for this. Can you sell that to me? And you say yes and add it to your services menu. Complexity, operational deficiencies, kills your differentiation in the market. And ultimately you compete on price with everybody else that does those things.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. And that's I agree. And there's no laser focus of, hey, I'm an expert in this. I'm a specialist in this. Would you like my help? And if this goes past the whole niching thing, I want people to get that this goes way past your niche. This is your expertise. What are you an expert in? What do you do? And what can you do that no one else can? Why are you the surgeon, the brain surgeon versus the general physician, right? Do you want a GP doing brain surgery on you? Probably not, right? So this is great. So what else do people need to do to simplify, or why do people not simplify? And then what do they need to do, Max?
Well, I mean, you make a good point. A lot of people use that word niche or niche, whatever, however you want to do it. Pick your poison, and they say, this is going to simplify my business. This means I'm focused. There's three areas of focus that I've seen, and the most focused professional service companies position themselves under all three of these. One is industry. But just because you work in a particular industry, say financial service technologies, you could still have a laundry list of services. Still going to kill your professional services business. Not going to have fun. So the second is practice area. What are the problems that you solve in the service that you provide? You should have one services process. That's the ultimate goal that everybody goes through. Everybody comes in the same door. Everybody goes through the same process. It's customized per client, but you go through the same steps. Congratulations. The third is situational. So I had a client, Dr. Roxy, and she helped commercialize healthcare innovations and capture the first 15% of the market. So that first 15% is the situational qualifier, so that if you go on the internet and search for other commercialization professionals in healthcare, you will find them. You won't find many with a doctorate or her unique intellectual property or approach, but she specializes in a particular situation such that she combines industry focus, practice area focus, and that situational focus. There ain't no one else doing it. So you can command the highest price points and develop the most efficiencies through pattern recognition, doing the same exact thing over and over.
Very cool. So it's, and to your point, you get better at it yourself. You're not doing 1,000 things. You're going to even get better. And again, you're that expert. So now, how does this translate to raising your prices? Because I imagine one of the things by default, if you are an expert, and I've done this 1,000 times, I know this is why I charge more, and this is why Mr. or Mrs. Customer, you should pay me more. I imagine that's part of it, but talk to us more about raising prices and the advice you give people on how to do that.
Well, early on in my career, I was running a marketing agency, and I had a great time with this whole concept of value-based pricing. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, I can show you that I've made you $1 million. So even though I've only done a few hours of work, I'm going to charge you $100,000 for my services. I don't get price shopped because my value or my price is based on the value that I can provide. Well, that's all well and good until you are perceived as replaceable. I can't charge you $100,000 for and get you a 10 times return if Billy the marketer fresh out of college is perceived to be able to do the same thing that I'm doing at $10 an hour. I will be replaced despite my value.
Sure.
And that's what started to happen. So I think the most important question to ask yourself is, how replaceable are you? If you are not replaceable, then you can start to price based on value. You can retain your customers. You can raise your price. So one is around positioning. The reality is, for professional services companies, fear and hunger will overpower your positioning. So you need to have a full pipeline. If you don't have more demand than supply, meaning that if you don't have more opportunities than you can take on, you simply will never raise your price because you're afraid that you won't get the next deal.
Sure.
It's the organizations that have more opportunities than they can say yes to. When they're at capacity, that's when they start to raise their prices.
Sure.
And there's a moment of, say, you double your price, you quadruple it just to have some fun.
Sure.
And the client goes, yeah, sure. And then you realize that it's just a complete game. When you have unique positioning, when you're in the realm of something that's critically valuable and mission critical to your clients, pricing is a complete game, and you should continuously raise your prices.
That's a fair point. And my one of my mentors, he's like, yeah, if you're busy and you're booked, double your prices. And worst comes to worst, if some people drop off, you're still going to make more by working less. So you can't go wrong.
Well, my dad, yeah. Well, I think we must have grown up in the same neighborhood, because my dad always said, if you get a yes, double your price. If you get a no, get 4 more no's, then split the difference.
Interesting. I like
that.
You'll
be next year, you'll be charging a heck of a lot more than you are today. Now, the downside of that, the perceived downside, is, people are going to say no. And I tell you what, when you get a no, that is the start of an incredible conversation.
Fair point.
You get a no, you get to ask, well, how do we need to make it work for you? Where's the budget coming from? What about it is a no? And to my surprise, sometimes people say no just because of perceived payment terms. I can't pay you $30,000 today, so the answer is no. But I could say yes if I paid you $10,000 a month for 3 months. Of course, that's fine. Yes. So no is a start to a great conversation. If you get a yes, the only thing that means is you could have gotten more. You don't learn anything from it.
Fair point. There's one of my mentors, Justin Sterling. He said, you don't really learn from the yeses, you learn from the no's. So go out and seek no's, whether it's by raising your prices or talking to higher end, air quotes, clients, or clients that are perceived to be better or whatever, or just, double your rates or triple your rates or quadruple, like you said, your rates. You don't learn from the yeses, you learn from the no's. So whether it's in dating or whether it's in business or networking, whatever it is, you learn from the no's. You sure do.
Indeed.
Very cool. Very cool. What are some other great ways? Because I agree with you. I think if you simplify your business, everything will follow. Everything improves. And I even realized that myself. Instead of being all things to all people, or, hey, can you do a talk on this, or can you do training on this? Well, this is what I do. And sure, I can tweak, but this is the core of what I do. I don't do that. Perhaps I'm better off referring you to someone. I mean, people prefer, and appreciate it anyways. What are some other great ways to simplify or to grow sales versus simplifying?
Well, you have to understand that every professional services business has 2 very different businesses. You have the business of strategy or thinking or planning, and you have the business of doing, building things, implementing your ideas. In my book, I talk about burning the implementation business to the ground. It is the most highly commoditized. It is the thing that people graduate college and compete on price for. It is the thing that will always be perceived as replaceable. So A is focus. Find the thing that you do that is most valuable and difficult to replace. And that is the strategy. That's the thinking. That's figuring out what not to do and focusing the organization around what's most important.
I think it's a good point. And as you and I have learned from Dan Sullivan in Strategic Coach, he says, A, focus on the gain versus the gap. So focus on what's working and avoid stressing about what doesn't work. But B, outsource and find your who, not your how. Outsource, barter, trade, hire, sub, whatever you can do, contract, and that way you're only doing the things that you should be doing instead of you doing accounting and the bookkeeping and the invoicing and the Facebook ads and the social media or the whatever. You do what you need to do all day long and plus you love your work because you're doing all day long what you love. And to your point, it's simple. You know what you do. You become an expert in no time, and you can obviously take that and make that a better win for yourself. And then to your point, you talk to clients, and it's like one of my mentors said, it's like you're a doctor. You have a bleeding neck, and I'm happy to help you. I'd love to help. However, this is how I'm going to help you. And it'd be like someone going to a doctor, well, no, or I'm only going to do it if this, or only if that, or no, not that much, or not this soon, or whatever. I mean, it's like, well, you have the bleeding neck. Do you want help? Would you like help? So I like how you mentioned that. That's a really good point as well.
Yeah, we're kind of we're a slave to the things that we've learned how to do, when in reality we need to focus on the things that we were born to do.
Fair point.
I made some great websites in my day. I don't touch websites anymore.
Exactly. And there's no point. I mean, with business cards or flyers or stuff, it's just no point, no use in me doing it. And it's that limiting belief people have of, oh, I got to save money, or I can't afford it, or whatever. I mean, you can't afford not to do it because the business cards I made and the flyers I made were so at best, and it took me forever, and I didn't love it, and it's not what I'm born. I didn't start my business to create business cards or Facebook ads or flyers or accounting or whatever. That's not what I do. So you raise a really good point. I think people really need to be careful about that belief and that, oh, I don't have time to outsource it. I'm like, well, then you definitely need to outsource it, or I don't have the money to outsource it. Well, then you need to definitely outsource it because then you'll make more money. It's going to save you time. You do what you do best. And like you said, you do that expertise that people are going to pay you for. And you're going to win, and you charge more. You get known as the guy or the gal or the company or the organization that does blank. You're really good at blank. And that way you can say, okay, it's this price. And people are like, okay, versus, oh, can you do it cheaper? Or Bob down the road, or X company or Y company can do it cheaper. And I think it's a great way to avoid that. Talk to us about productizing your offerings, because I think that's really great too, and it ties into this, and it's something you talk about.
So what I mean by productizing is things and steps. Products, a Nike shoe, for example, you know how much you know exactly how much it takes to make that Nike shoe. You know how long it takes, and so you can predict exactly how much money you're going to make when you sell one. Professional services companies relish in the idea that their services are customized to every client. It's not so. They're tailored to every client, but you need to run the same services process. You need to use the same things, templates, resources. You need to go through the same steps. And if you want to position it properly, branding, give it a name. So if you want to charge more, give it a name, make it unique in the marketplace. If you want to make it predictable so that you can grow a business around it, you need to have a consistent process. And so I don't mean, create a product, a sellable, online thing that you never touch. It's this idea that you should understand the operations behind your professional service. It should be done the same way every time, and you should be able to market it accordingly.
But it's that system, right? It's that system and that expertise people are paying for versus, you're right, fully customizing it for every different person. You're right, tailor it obviously, but have that core, I think is what you're saying, have that core service, have that core step-by-step strategy service you take people through.
Yeah. Now, I talk to people about this a lot, and the most common just rejected at face value is, well, everything I do for my clients is different. And the best example I've heard of it is the iPhone. The iPhone is built on the same software, hardware. It's the same thing, and yet people download and completely customize it for themselves, different apps, different things. I thought, wow, okay, that's a pretty good explanation.
I like that. And to your point, when I was doing different trainings or talks or workshops, keynotes, I used to be one that would I would tweak it. Let's create something completely new. It takes a lot of time and energy. You're not honed or focused or practice on it, versus you're right, I can tweak it a little bit to my audience or tailor it, like you said. but not going back and starting from scratch, because I have something that works and it works well. And the more I do it, the better I can make it work, the better I can change it and improve it. Versus, you're right, that myth of we have to be totally custom. Oh, I'm fully custom, I'll do whatever you want. Well, no, maybe there's a better consultant out there you can refer. And people are often, I think, afraid of referring and losing money. However, I think you're going to make more money because you're going to refer to someone that want to refer back to you, and they'll give you the perfect client. You're going to give them the perfect client. So I think that's a really good point. That's a really good point.
Well, you can't refer anybody to a competitor.
Yeah.
So when you expand your services menu, you make more of the marketplace your competitors. So there's always an argument for strategic partnerships and to up your referrals to focus. The other thing I find that holds people back is they've got these clients, they're paying for these services, and so they can't just discontinue the service. They're not going to fire the people that do service line D, E, and F because they're paying their salaries today. So sometimes the first step is to simply take your services menu and to ensure that every client moves through those services in the same order. In other words, to create a singular process across multiple services. The rule is everybody has to go through steps A, B, C, D, E, F in order. You cannot come in and start at step E because you're telling me you want a website. You have to start at step A, which is understanding the marketplace or what have you. Now you can customize that. The company can come in and say, hey, we've already done all this stuff. Oh, great. Well, let me check the boxes. We're going to spend 5 minutes on A, 10 minutes on B, 30 seconds on C. You're allowed to do that, but you must go through and maintain your process. It ensures that all clients start in the same place. It ensures that all clients have standardized resources, knowledge along the way, which, by the way, they almost never do. And so, there you go.
Fair point. Fair point. And OG, one of our viewers OG is saying, lean into the no's and learn that all the no's and are a way to get to yes. I think that's a really, really good point that he puts out. A really good point. In terms of, let's talk work-life balance, because you and I had chatted about how what you do inevitably will give people better work-life balance. And again, I think it's like simplifying, which is, of course, a metaphor for everything. And as T. Harv Eker, founder of the Millionaire Programs, and multi-millionaire himself, he's all about saying how the way you do one thing is the way you do everything in your life. So again, simplifying your business will, your process and your mindset about running your business will also probably simplify your life. And maybe having perhaps work-life balance. Is that what it is, or is it something different? Talk to us about that.
I think the concept of work-life balance is the most bass-backward thing going on out there. What I don't find, and this is what I grew up with, this is what my father always taught me, is put your personal life first. Let's have and nobody does this. They're just ingrained in this culture of 9 to 5. Congratulations, the world has decided on 5 out of 7 days out of the week for you. That is not work-life balance. But the truth is, work-life balance is different for everybody. The question is, what do you want your personal life to be like? And people that come out of corporate have never been given the opportunity to create the personal life that they want, maybe 2 days out of a week. So we have to understand that we need to have very specific goals, just like we do in our business. SMART goals, whatever the analogy is, whatever consulting train you're on, you have to understand how much money you want to make, what you're going to spend that on, what you're going to spend your free time on, how much free time, how much time are you going to spend with your kids, how much you're going to travel, how much you're going to do things you love, like playing golf. Create a vision for that. And guess what? It might be 5 out of 7 days a week that you're doing your personal stuff. And then build a business model that supports your personal life. So I don't get the concept of balance. I get the concept of your business is there to support the personal life that you want, and there are no rules.
I like that. And I've heard it said before, there is no such thing as balance. However, there's harmony. For example, I've been heads down teaching one of my courses, and I've taught all day, 9 hours, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'm doing that again this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. This week's been a bit of rest, a lot of running around and prep for the next week. However, I'm going to Miami for a week and a half on Tuesday. So there is that balance, or I'm going to Europe for 2-3 weeks in the new year. So there's that harmony versus balance. And I like how you said that, because everyone's like, I need work-life balance. And well, sure, balance is important, but sometimes as a business person or business leader or entrepreneur, you're working till midnight on a Friday, or you're working Saturday or a lot of Saturdays. And then, of course, you get to take a month off, depending on if you own your consultancy or own your own practice, or if you can make it with work.
Well,
Maybe,
how do you measure balance?
well, and exactly.
What's an objective measurement for balance? Does that mean if I track my time, I spend the exact same amount of time on my personal life as I do my business? I don't think that's what it means.
Yeah.
I like your concept of harmony. To me, harmony means I do all the personal shit that I want to do.
It just
I love the work that I do that supports that. I make exactly as much money as I need to support my personal life and no more. That's harmony to me. I'm in control. And when I sit down and plan the year, I say, all right, how much personal stuff do I want to do? What are my goals? How am I going to sit here at the end of 2022 and say, I did myself a solid. I achieved my goals. And it ain't going to be because I spent half my time with personal stuff and half my time on business. You got to have more specific objectives than that.
Exactly. And I like how you said too that it may be a greater balance, or I won't use the word balance, a greater time might be towards actually rest and personal. It may be more than your business or more than your career. I mean, there's that possibility too. A lot of successful people who are doing it right do have a lot of personal time, or at least a lot of time outside their career or business, where they are volunteering or part of boards or organizations or things that light them up. So I love that you've said that. And I mean, even our mentor, Dan Sullivan, we met through Dan Sullivan and Strategic Coach. He always says, plan your personal time, plan your off days first. Otherwise, one, they'll get filled and you'll never have time off. But also two, why the hell are you working? And again, I love what I do too, but why are you working? Is it really to buy more expensive cars and buy a more expensive house and then save it and retire and then die? Or is there a greater purpose here you're looking to have? Is what life do you want, and what is your life about? I can guarantee you it's not to work money and then die on average 8 to 16 months after you retire. That's a scary statistic too. 8 to 16 months after you retire, people die. Scary statistic. So, and it can't be the purpose of life. The fun in life can't be that. It's got to be to enjoy and actually do cool things in life and do whatever it is you want. So is it really working your life away, no matter how much you love your business, or is it prioritizing personal time to learning something or personal development or family or friends or travel? I love travel. Whatever it is. I love that point you made as well. Any last points, any last ways that people can either simplify, raise their prices, just be successful in this, often crazy world we live in?
Well, the very next question after you figure out what is most valuable, and by the way, a wrong way to approach what do I focus on is by doing research. You know exactly what you do that's most valuable. You've done it before. Talk to your customers that pay you money. Listen to them. They will tell you what is most valuable, and they'll tell you what's least valuable about what you do. So it's not something that's out there you need to go research and figure out what industry is trending. Do what you're most passionate about and most valuable with. But the very next question, once you focus your business and identify what's most valuable, is who will pay you the most for that. That's a good point. And that is where a whole nother slew of limiting beliefs comes in. Well, I'm an independent consultant, or I've never worked for the Fortune 500 company, or I've never blah, blah, blah. Get over it. Yeah. You need to go find the people that will pay you an arm and a leg for what you do.
I agree. I like that a lot too. I like that a lot because a lot of us, I mean, who am I to go? Well, clearly someone went there and they grew, and that's why they have a big business and they're working with big businesses. But they had to start a business first, and as, let's say, either a solopreneur or small business or startup shop or whatever, a small consultancy, they had to start somewhere and go after people. And maybe it's not big businesses. I'm just saying that, but maybe it's smaller businesses or small consultancies or SMBs or whatever that's going to pay you the most money, right? But you have to go somewhere. And to your point, these limiting beliefs or fears or dare I say excuses that keep us comfortable, because humans hate to be uncomfortable, and yet it's where we grow. And it's where I encourage people, do something that makes you uncomfortable every single day. I have a checklist. It's like, yep, today I did something that made me uncomfortable, and thus I grew. So I love that you say, who are the people that are going to pay you the most for that and pay you an arm and a leg for that?
Well, I think it comes from fear.
Yeah.
But I think the fear comes from relying on referrals. Most professional service companies don't do any intentional outreach. And I know that because if a company can show me a list of 40 companies that are their next 40 targets, and when they get a no from one of those 40 companies, they cross them off the list and somebody else replaces someone on that list, then you are doing intentional outreach. You're starting with who will pay me the most, and you've got a process for finding the person that can pay you and then reaching out in a way that starts a conversation. Most organizations can't show me that list of 40, which means that they are relying on someone to download some white paper because they read too many articles on inbound marketing, or like someone to fall out of the sky or be referred, or they go to the bar and networking events. It's not intentional.
Yeah.
It's a joke. You're not going to. So that's what I mean. Like if you can prove to yourself that I can hunt and kill any type of animal that I want, then saying, hey, I'm going to go up market is just the next experiment. Great. Who are those companies that I'm going to go after? What are the different outreach techniques that I'm going to try? But you need to be able to hunt and kill for yourself. You can't have Amazon dropping off food all day.
Well, there you go. Well, fair. And because otherwise it's accidental. You're accidentally successful. Like you said, you meet someone at the bar, you're waiting to meet, start networking or whatever, right? It's, yeah, get out there and be intentional. However it is, talk to people, interview people, send your book. You have a book like Max and I, send your book to people. Whatever it is, it's a great way in past the book. You write a little note in the book, sign it for someone like Max did for me. And it's a great business card no one's going to throw out, and they may share it with someone or may give it to someone who really needs it if they don't. But it's a great way, and again, it's it cost me probably $10 or maybe not even that to print my book, probably $5 to print my book. But it's a business card no one will throw out, and it's a great tool. So again, before that, I can't afford it, comes up. Plus, it's a great way, like Max and I, to show we have authority. There's credibility. It's like I'm a best-selling author, and again, Max, again, he's got a cool book. I suggest
it ain't best-selling.
No, I mean, well, how can we get it to bestseller list? How can people get the book and find out more about you?
Look, my interest was not to get it on the bestseller list. I needed a way to tell my story and be as opinionated as I am without people getting on the phone with me. That's what the book is for. But you can find it on my site, maxtraylor.com. I mean, I've been interviewing business owners and independent consultants for 7 years now about how they have productized their intellectual property and how they make money with their knowledge. So there's 7 years of interviews there. And last year I finally, I suppose, had the guts to put 100 pages together on some of the best lessons I've learned. That's available on my site. It's actually downloadable for free, despite the wishes of the book people that were giving me advice. Or you could pay the $3 or whatever it is, on Amazon. But yeah, I appreciate you.
Cool. Yes, yeah, please. This has been amazing, very interesting, actually, very, very interesting. And I really want people to win, as do you. Any more questions, guys? www.maxtraylor.com or max@maxtraylor.com, not Taylor, Trailer. So avoid the, you're going to get a bounce back if you type in Taylor. So maxtraylor.com. And this has been a pleasure. Maybe I'll have you back again, Max. This has been amazing. I think people have gotten a lot of value. There's been some comments in the chat as well, which is great. We've had some live viewers popping in and out. So thank you for your time. Any last words, last advice, suggestions you'll leave people with?
Come up with a plan for 2022 that motivates you. I mean, we're in Q4. It's some of the most Q4, the end of the year, is the time to get excited and clear and motivated about the next year. And it's not about achieving your goals. It's really not about achieving the goal. It's the ride to get there. And it's giving yourself the permission to focus on things, having an awesome goal in mind that is going to benefit your personal life. So get a very clear plan together. It's the most confident and excited I am all year. But you got to set yourself up for that. So take a day, do your planning, and good luck next year.
Beautiful. I love it. And it's simple. I'm assuming a simple plan, not an overly complex, convoluted plan. To keep it simple, the KISS principle.
One thing. I was talking to somebody yesterday. I said, so what's your plan for 2022? And she said, I'll do more VIP days. And then she paused. And I said, that is like, I would bet on this horse any day of the week. You're not going to accomplish 20 things. And if you have 20 things on your list, you may accomplish one. The only thing you're doing to yourself is you're giving up control over which thing you accomplish. Start with one. You accomplish that thing, sure, go to another one. But start with one. Give yourself the benefit of focus and make sure that one thing is going to impact your personal life.
Right on, brother. Right on. Amazing. Amazing. Max Traylor, everyone, thanks very much for joining us, Max. I appreciate your time and giving the value to some of our folks.
Cheers, James.